When you leave your country, that grace goes up. The further north you go up in Germany, the more diverse it tends to be. And the reason why I've worded it this way is no German city is the same. All things diversity, representation, accessibility of things. Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Happy Sunday, happy weekend, happy to my new subscribers. I see the numbers have gone up. This is particularly affirming because I have been on YouTube officially a year. And when I got onto this platform, I was terrified to put myself out there on a public platform. And it's been a really life-changing year, I must say. It has also been so affirming, so fulfilling. And while there has been times where it's been really difficult to be consistent, this is a platform I willingly come back to. I learned so much, I've grown so much, and it's always so affirming that it reaches the people it needs to reach. So thank you so much for all the DMs that you send me, the emails that you send me, the tips, the questions, the topic suggestions. It's been a glorious year so far. And I'm so happy that I've reached my own personal milestone of reaching 500 of you. Not only have we reached that, we've reached more than that. And I really hope that this content continues to reach the right people. So let's dive straight into today's topic. Today, I'm discussing all things, what do you need to factor in if you're a person of color and are just about to travel to Europe or Germany specifically? This is a topic that's loaded, and disclaimer before we get into it, of course, this is so subjective based on my own experiences over the years. I'm sure there are things I may leave out, and I'm sure there are things I may say here that don't necessarily resonate with everybody. So I invite the people who have had a similar experience to write in the chat box below, share your experiences, share some tips, call me out if it's needed. The first thing to consider if you are a person of color traveling to Germany soon is that you are going to have to take care of your hair business. And by that I mean, please research the particular town where you will be staying, what hair salons are available, what afro shops are available, if any, and perhaps there are Facebook groups that are accessible to you who can give you tips. And the reason why I've worded it this way is no German city is the same. All things diversity, representation, accessibility of things that are needed pertaining to your hair. I've been in Germany in different seasons of my life, and when I went there during my gap year, I was about 18 years old at the time, and this was over a decade ago, and I was living specifically in Stuttgart. Shout out Stuttgart. It's a city that's actually very diverse, more diverse than people realize. However, at the time, I didn't have information like this accessible to me. And to be honest, I think I underestimated my comfort levels and what I would need as an adult versus what I had needed in the past as a child. So I didn't really look into it. And this was a very difficult period of my life because the culture shock came in waves. So I say this because I think a lot of the prep, a lot of the culture shock that can't really be avoided, you can at least meet it halfway with research. So in this day and age, we have the internet. Do a young Google search, find out what's accessible to you in your city, and I'm sure that will go a long way. What's important to consider within the German context, all things black people, people of color, and hair, is that you're coming into a country where you are the minority. This means you're more than likely not to find the products that you need, or when you do, you find them at exuberant prices, far out, not as easily accessible. This is something that can be incredibly difficult to maneuver around, accept, make your peace with, especially when you have had the reverse as your norm. If you come from a country where you just walk into any shop and you can find any oil, any hair product that you need, or anyone to just ask at any salon, any question pertaining to your hair, this experience can be very difficult. So, of course, accessibility is not going to be the same because you are the minority. Depending on the city that you're going to be in, diversity obviously ranges. From my experience, the further north you go up in Germany, the more diverse it tends to be. I haven't looked into the history or other dynamics why that is. I'm sure there is. If you're interested in me doing a video about this, perhaps let me know and we can explore this. But cities such as Berlin, Hamburg, Bremen, who are in the north, tend to, from my experience, have far more available, whether that's hair products, whether that's hair salons, or people who just know how to maneuver, handle our hair, doing house calls and such. I assume Berlin is obvious because it's a capital city, it's the most international city, and there's obviously going to be far more diversity. I've lived in Berlin myself, and that was also my experience when I was there. So this is really, really important to bear in mind. When I traveled to Germany, I made the conscious decision to cut my dreadlocks. As you can see, my dreadlocks are back now. But I made the decision to cut my locks for many reasons. It also felt timeless. But one of the main factors was I knew for a fact it was going to be very difficult for me to find a salon that was going to be able to manage my dreadlocks. And if I did, it was going to cost me an arm and a leg. And I was proven right. To twist dreadlocks in Berlin, from my experience during my time, so from the 2022 to 2023 period, when I did a little bit of research, it costs about 200 euros to twist and retwist dreadlocks. This is an amount of money that I personally would not have had to be able to just spend on hair alone, on top of all the other expenses. So I made the right decision. However, it is a pity that one would have to even come to a reality where they have to make a decision like that. It comes with traveling. It has its pros and cons, and this is one of them. I was happy to cut my hair. It was a decision I made gladly, and I don't regret it. However, had I not had the foresight to even think about this being cost of hair, accessibility of products, accessibility of the type of care I needed for my locks, I may have traveled to Germany, and this may have been a very difficult thing to process and something that would have maybe left a dent in my budget. The people who are willing to, spend that much money on their hair, I just was not. And I think if you are a person watching and have different priorities or don't want to be put in a position to make that kind of decision, then please, please, please research. Perhaps you do not have dreadlocks, you have short hair, still research. You will be blown away at how much these things cost. So I really would advise anything that concerns hair, research what is available to you, and then make a well-informed decision about what you're going to do based on where you're going to be. A very underrated tip in this day and age is social media. Use your Instagram networks, use your Facebook networks. I cannot emphasize how valuable Facebook was during my time in Germany, particularly now. People are on Facebook. There are groups on Facebook. People use Facebook to connect, and I'm pretty sure if you find a Facebook group of South Africans or Africans in a particular city, South Africans in Berlin or in Hamburg, you will be able to find people who are willing to do your hair, give you tips about your hair, recommend people to do house calls for your hair within the city that you're in for little or next to nothing as compared to the mainstream salons that are obviously by design not able to cater to the minority. That's a reality. So with that being said, it's not necessarily a bad experience. It's a different experience. And I know a lot of people who come up with very innovative ways to make some extra money, whether that's plaiting people's hair, whether that's making specific products accessible to people of color abroad. So you can use this as an opportunity to be creative, use this as an opportunity to network and connect with others. There are people who host groups, they have conversations, they connect with communities abroad, just triggered purely by hair and identity and accessibility. So use it to your advantage, but I really would say in this case, research. It's very important. The second thing that's really, really important to consider, and it's connected to accessibility, is the accessibility of all things skincare. I don't know about you, but this is a very sore point for me. It also makes me feel uncomfortable or comfortable depending on the experience. I want to use the lotion that I need for my skin so that my skin doesn't crack or isn't dry. I want to feel and look good. I want to be able to walk into a store and find the serum of my choice that caters to my melanin. And of course, this is a very jarring experience, again, due to accessibility, because you are the minority to walk into a cosmetic store and not be able to find the things that you need. Again, like with the first thing, research. The popular cosmetic stores in Germany are DM, and DM is the more everyday sort of clicks or discount, which is the equivalent here in South Africa. And those stores, depending on the city, actually don't always cater to the things that we need. And this extends also to makeup and makeup shades, in terms of foundations and things like that. And sometimes you have to order those things online or you bring them with you. The tip from my side would be, depending on how long you intend on staying in Germany or in Europe abroad, bring some things from home. Ask people who are traveling home regularly. Again, Facebook groups and the like are very helpful to bring the things that you need. This helps you. Again, sometimes you do find what you need in the store, or it's an opportunity to actually explore what is available in the respective city or in the store, and maybe you might find other products. For example, I never used to take care of my skin in the way that I did when I was in Germany recently, and I think I was prompted to do this differently because I'd walk into DM and find, oh wow, they have this serum. Okay, I see there's a Caucasian lady on the bottle, but let me try it out. And some of the stuff worked beautifully for my skin. So sometimes it's depending on your comfortability or your need or desire to learn things or be, taken out of your comfort zone, you can explore other products and find out what's out there. But if you don't want to risk that and you just want to be comfortable, pack the stuff in your suitcase. If you're a camphor, Ingram's camphor girl, I see you. I know the struggle. Pack 2-3 camphors in your suitcase. Ask friends to bring you some. Post some from home. That way you sorted. It's the reality of living abroad as a person of color. Oh, food. Spices. Bring your spices if you like to cook. Even if you don't cook for yourself, if you're a person who likes certain flavors, likes certain cuisine, and you can't access those things when you are in another country, best believe you will have a moment where you want to cook some things from home. And the best tip I can give you is to bring the spices, the rajas, the woolly spices, the salts, the things that you need to be able to have that taste of nostalgia, or just to have one more thing that feels comfortable and familiar. Bring it with. And like with the lotions and skincare and makeup, bring that stuff. Ask friends to bring it with you. You won't believe how much these things make a difference. And if you are a person of color from a different region, I would give you exactly the same tips. I think these are the small things that we underestimate that really make it really incredibly difficult to settle in, to integrate, to find joy. Even for things like, let's say you're having a work event and people are cooking cuisines from around the world, or encouraging that you cook something from home, it's difficult. The things that you need are not accessible to you, and they're not going to taste the same. And I don't know about you, but every single time I have been abroad and lived abroad, it has reaffirmed my pride, my confidence in who I am, and wanting to show people the lovely things from South Africa, including food. And it was so helpful to have the spices available to me. And this is something that this time around I didn't factor in. Again, I was an adult this time around. I was cooking for my kids. And I never thought about this. And I had to ask family and friends to bring me spices, and it made a world of a difference. It also was incredibly important for me to be able to cook things from home for my daughter. And I'm so glad that I had friends and family who were willing, who didn't ask any questions, who supported and helped. So pack your spices in your bag. Pack your condiments that you like so much, your chili sauces, your tomato sauces. You may find that these things are available. For example, in the case of a condiment, of course, there's tomato sauce and ketchup and the like available in Germany. It's different. And again, same point with the skincare, depending on how adventurous you'd like to be. Maybe you want to, in this particular season, try the things that are available in Germany or in France or in Spain. But for the people who like what they like and every now and again want to cook the things from home, pack those things in your suitcase. It will help. Last tip, most important one, the one that traumatized me probably the most, is documentation. The bureaucracy in Germany particularly is a difficult hurdle. It's also something that we cannot change. And in many ways is also part of the reason why things work so well and efficiently in Germany. Whole different conversation about how efficient that really is. But it's the reality of being in that country, especially if you are not a German national. that can be very difficult administratively. So I would really recommend, as a person of color or as a foreigner, bring your documentation. The unabridged birth certificate that's been sitting underneath your bed or mattress for years that you think is not worth bringing, bring the original, or the copy at least. Bring documents. Do a quick Google search about your situation. Are you traveling with kids? Are you planning to marry your partner that's in Germany? What do you need? But documentation is so important. And perhaps from the person of color lens perspective, a lot of us come from underprivileged backgrounds where perhaps we don't have access to this information and are not always prepared for every kind of scenario, and sometimes do not have certain documentation. There are things that you can do within your respective country without needing certain documentation, because the context understands the different backgrounds that people come from and how they can assist people to be able to get access to opportunity, etc., etc. When you leave your country, that grace goes out the window. And we can have a whole conversation another day about how responsible is another country to cater to foreign nationals, to what extent, etc., etc. I have my own opinions, strong ones that I have experienced firsthand as a foreign national in another country. But what I can say, having been in this uncomfortable position, is that you have to bring your documentation. Documents, pieces of paper are so important, all things legitimacy in your identity, but they also go such a long way to be able to get you the things that you need in the respective country, whether that's opportunity, whether that's access to certain privileges. If anything, this is probably top of my list. Documentation, particularly from the person of color lens. We don't think about this a lot. A lot of us are perhaps traveling for the first time in our families and don't have a person to be able to give us advice and tips and help us with navigating certain scenarios. And so it makes it just a bit more difficult to be able to navigate bureaucracy, admin, these hurdles when you're in another country, especially when you're the minority and perhaps nobody relates to your particular struggle. That would be my tip. Bring your documentation. If you have the grace of time, research, find out, call, ask. I'm also here and available to ask any questions pertaining specifically to South Africans traveling to Germany, specifically. Happy to always help. But there's not a lot of us who do this or navigate these experiences. If anything, there's very few of us who are sharing. And these are the things that make it incredibly difficult for us to settle in. So those are my 4 things. Please let me know what your 4 things or 10 things or 5 things are that you would advise to people who are traveling. I'd be really interested to know. And if you are about to embark on this journey of living in another country, it's a glorious one. You can only benefit with some pains along the way, growing pains, some discomforts. But I know for a fact it's an experience that I wish everybody could have. It is so incredible and teaches us so much about ourselves, even if that is how much you love your country and how much you want to live just where you are. But if you're about to embark on it, I hope it's everything that you need it to be. Be present. And I hope that these hurdles along the way enrich your experience. Enjoy. Till next time. Bye.